From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Sean Thompson. And this is the Sean Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
So from what I understand, from my guy Squirrel, and from when I logged in, a lot of people are talking about the Mimbo and the Bimbo and the European trip along with the Duchess of Chafington. And you know how I don't like to beat you over the head with what you've already been hearing. So a clip sits out. There's always one in a weekend that sits out with you. And you say, boy, oh boy, this ties everything together. And really that clip for me is the protester scum on a podcast talking about the money that they made for tearing up the city in Minnesota.
Speaking of being paid, how much do you get paid to protest? I know that's a pretty
usually
thing.
Protest rates go like outside agitator rates or just strict protest rates?
Like just like sign up, put your coat on, hold a sign that was pre-made
Signs
for you,
low.
obviously.
You just
right?
hold a sign. I got a couple of pictures holding signs. I can tell you those contracts are lower, maybe 20 an hour to hold a sign. You want to outside agitate? I go 50 an hour.
Nice.
I go 50 an hour. And then that once we pass certain temperatures, we're in the negatives. Like negative 30 Minneapolis, I'm charging 100 an hour to be out here.
Yeah, you better.
You know who's paying me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I got the same check last week.
Exactly, I know.
We get I was getting 35 an hour, but I wasn't screaming my lungs off. I was only I was
There's
screaming.
contingencies.
Yeah.
In these
Well, they make you wear those decibel readers to see how loud you're actually chanting.
They do. And the right doesn't know. MAGA doesn't know about that yet.
Yeah.
MAGA doesn't know about the decibel readers. I got one on me right now.
See, I always knew they were low-life idiots. And all you have to do is go up to one. What I like about what we see now, these are other young people going up to young people, making fun of these morons, these simpletons, these Democrat communist sympathizers that are tearing up our area.
Can you not hear it in my voice?
Are you going to cry? Because I asked you to define a term on your sign. It's actually not even spelled right. It actually says fascism. Your sign says fight fascism. What is fascism?
Fascism is the breakdown of a society. There's no society when fascism is present.
Can you give me a definition?
I don't really know if I have to give you a definition because I know
This simpleton, like most Democrats, they're not even worth the 35 an hour, you stupid son of a dog.
I feel violated against my government.
Okay, but what is fascism? When we want to fight something, it's easy. It's good to define them, right? We could phone a friend. What is fascism? You could help her. I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to speak to you.
I'm fighting for how I feel.
Right.
For others.
Of course. What specifically do you feel?
Can you not hear it in my voice?
Are you going to cry? Because I asked you to define a term on your sign.
She's the next governor of California. There's no question about it. Because you got to have some chops. You got to have some fake righteous indignation. You got to have all kinds of things to be elected as a political pimp, whore, scumbag. You have to. And I don't know if this kid has a trust fund from an oil foundation. However, I think she's got a real close chance of being the next governor of California.
Folks at home, maybe saying dissing the president abroad goes against the sanctity of the office. What do you say to that? I mean,
when you talk about sanctity of the office, the President of the United States that tweets out a racist video of the former President of the United States, the sanctity of the office, a guy who's the most corrupt president in American history, grift.
That's the one I want. The grift, corrupt, that's what they're talking about. And it's really quite brilliant because, well, that fraud, that actor, that half-man, trust fund baby from an oil fortune, is in his European vacation. There's more information. It looks like California is $250 billion that has gone missing. It's not just the $24 billion for the homeless or the $20 billion for the illegal health care bull dung. Not even the normal grift, like in Chirac for the schools. I still love this one.
Well, since COVID, Chicago public schools raked almost $3 billion in federal funding. 3 years ago, the teachers union refused to go back to work. even though they got $100 million to reopen the schools. And at the time, I predicted that the money would be pocketed. Watch. Not surprisingly, the numbers don't add up. There's millions of dollars missing. I honestly think they're stealing. And I don't know how many times I have to say this. I should have said it more, because you guessed it, $23 million just went missing.
That's usual, right? You're used to it. That's stealing you can tolerate. After all, in a Democrat, once great city, now fiefdom, like Chicago, you expect it. But when you're talking real money, $250 billion, you've got to go to the West Coast.
Speaking of fraud, this week you and State Controller candidate Herb Morgan released preliminary findings of your Califraudia tip line investigation, alleging California could be losing $250 billion in fraud, waste, and abuse. Explain your findings.
So when the Minnesota fraud scandal first emerged around Thanksgiving, I said at the time, I'm very sure that the scale of the fraud here in California is going to be much bigger. It's a much bigger state, obviously, but also we've had one-party rule from Democrats for much longer, and that means you end up with a culture of corruption. There's a lack of checks and balances. And so I set up back then, about a month ago, a tip line for whistleblowers to tell us what they know. It was califraud.com. We've had hundreds of tips come in, which we've been chasing down. On top of that, we've looked at other audits that have happened. The state auditor telling us $24 billion was lost on homelessness spending, $55 billion during the pandemic for the employment department, and so on. We've looked at all of that and all the budgets of the state and looked at the error rate, for example, in payments on food stamps and those kinds of things. And when we look at it, we think that the estimate is at least $250 billion, not all in 1 year, but in the last few years. And that
since the dimwit in diapers stole the election. And you want to talk about graft, any Newsom?
And graft that's going on around the world has made billions of dollars in the first year back in presidency. It's unlike anything we've seen in my...
Whoa. We've seen billions stolen before by presidents and their bottom-heavy wives with an inner thigh rash that just won't go away.
I think that the Trump administration's position toward Ukraine is disgraceful. I think
And that's the tell, Squirrel. See, they've been setting that up since Barack Obama was in office. And it's interesting, Squirrel, that voice that you're listening to right now, it's used to be banned in all Menards, from sea to shining sea, all Lowe's and all lumber yards. They can't even play it when it's a news clip. And the reason is it softens wood.
effort to force Ukraine into a surrender deal with Putin is shameful. I think the effort that Putin and Trump are making to profit off the misery and death of the Ukrainian people.
Boy, that reminded me of something. Putin and Trump, Trump and Putin, Putin and Trump. How come it's never Putin and the Podestas? Yeah, you know, the Podestas from Chicago. Those two queens, those two sissy queens, all mobbed up with Democrats short in the pants. You see, it's the Podestas who worked tirelessly with Putin during that Uranium One deal.
Hillary Clinton was taking the weekend to prepare for the final debate this Wednesday, but as she stepped out of the spotlight, WikiLeaks released another batch of emails thought to be from Clinton's top aides. ABC's Cecilia Vega joins us now with all those details for us. Good morning, Cecilia.
Robin, good morning to you. The Clinton campaign calls this a crime reminiscent of Watergate, but worse. More than 1,900 emails released just this weekend. We are talking about a slow leak every day, a new batch. And the Clinton campaign knows this could be a problem for them every day.
This was right before Julian Assange was silenced.
Until Election Day. This morning, thousands more emails appearing to show the inner workings of Hillary Clinton's campaign. WikiLeaks releasing the newest batch of what are believed to be campaign chairman John Podesta's hacked emails. One showing just how much Clinton's team struggled to get her to apologize over that private server controversy. A top advisor writing, her inability to just do a national interview and communicate genuine feelings of remorse and regret is now, I fear, becoming a character problem.
Because she has no character. She's an evil witch. I almost swore squirrel, but I didn't. Although I don't know why I can't say bitch. She's an evil rat witch. Thief. Who's been stealing since Whitewater. Fast forward, Trump releases millions of emails.
New emails show that Jeffrey Epstein and Tom Barak met with a former Israeli prime minister and a top Russian diplomat months ahead of the 2016 election. And one of the topics of discussion was Hillary Clinton's emails and an October surprise. Starting off at the bottom here, Epstein is emailing Tom Pritzker. He says he's going to be meeting with Vitaly Churkin, the Russian...
Wait. Was that Tom Pritzker? Boy, that name sounds familiar.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now.
So when they pay these low-life protesters, it's all funneled through NGOs. Maybe one of the 64 that this fat bastard is attached to, or maybe the dog sister, or maybe it's Tom Pritzker. After all, he's got a lot to cover up at Zorro Ranch.
Diplomat Ehud Barak, the former Israeli prime minister, and Tom Barak, a key political operative for Donald Trump's 2016 campaign. Pritzker responds saying, "You win, I lose." Then Epstein asks him, "Are there any questions you would like to be poised in your absence? I don't recall, but do you know Tom Barak well?" Now at the top, Tom Pritzker says, "I don't know him very well. Here are some questions. The president of Turkey, is his goal to consolidate power? Will he use nationalism or Islamism as his rallying cry within Turkey? As for..."
Pay attention to this. This all ties in to the other problem we're experiencing.
For Syria, what are Russia's interests in Syria? As for Iran, will the nuclear deal hold or break down? As for the White House, how close will the presidential race need to be for the Russians to give us an October surprise? And which of Hillary's emails was the most entertaining? These guys didn't only know about the emails being hacked by the Russians, but they were actively cooperating with a top Russian diplomat who is...
So that brings us back to Fatso. Boy, I got to be more specific. The one with the inner thigh rash that just won't go away. And how she is accusing Donald Trump of profiting from war.
Is a historic error and corrupt to the nth degree. And so I believe Ukraine is fighting for our democracy and our values of freedom and civilization on the front lines, losing thousands of people and having their country destroyed by one man's...
Oh, they're definitely losing thousands of people. But that's the good distraction, right? Because that's how you and your party steals money. Whether it's at the Chicago Public Teachers Union or whether it's in foreign policy. And you just taught the Ukrainians how to do it.
The wife of a Ukrainian politician has been caught allegedly smuggling $28 million and 1.3 million euros in cash. Anastasia Kodzitska was caught by the authorities in neighboring Hungary carrying
That's
cash.
One of 600 with millions of dollars in luggage, in their closets, in their house. That's why I don't really care when we hear AOC talk about foreign policy or the Mimbo, Gavin Newsom. It's more about protecting the thief, protecting the scum, protecting the queens that have already defiled so much of our government.
Maybe just conspiracy theories tied to you, your brother, and the Podesta Group. So whether that's your personal email leak as it relates to Pizzagate, the undisclosed 75,000 shares of stock you received from the Kremlin, potentially violating financial disclosure laws, Uranium One being a client of the Podesta Group, why your brother left the Podesta Group after facing criminal inquiry. As an aspiring person in politics, I'm curious as to how you're dealing with all of these accusations. Thank you.
This is how the alt-right does fake news. And it's...
Listen here, Queen. Answer at least some of the questions. Now they'll get away with it, right? They got clout all the way back to when the dailies were in power. This is the Chicago Mafia taken national. And they made a fortune, and not one question about it from mainstream media. But never fear. The good news about what we're experiencing is these are young people that are all awake, paying attention, and they're not going to be silenced.
We're in Washington, D.C. because people are tired of the strongly worded letters and never-ending investigations. So in this video, we're going to be infiltrating Ilhan Omar's sketchy consulting headquarters that claims that they have $60 billion in assets under their management, yet they are located out of a co-working place called WeWork. This company is called Rose Lake Capital, and it is co-owned by Ilhan Omar's husband, Timothy Minette. And similar to the winery, in 2023, it made up to $51,000, and it had a sudden and very suspicious increase in net worth, up to $30 million in...
What I love about it, this young college girl named Angela Rose is 21. So all of the people that say, what are we going to do? They're not doing anything. They have the protections of their fiefdoms, of their prosecutors like Keith Ellison, of their crooked rat Democrat judges like the 3 female judges that circumvented a guilty verdict in Minnesota. They have their protection, but these young kids who are going to struggle under the corruption that the Clintons mastered, they're going to tear it down. And we're going to be here to help them and educate them and show them that for 40 years, the Democrat Party not only is a failure, every Democrat failed since the dawn of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is an organized mafia. 312-642-5600.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Sean Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.